Everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going good. We have our last fair of the season on Sunday.
I know.
So I am busting my butt. I'm sure you are too. Yeah. I've pulled some really good glass out of the kiln and just
good.
Long enough to start the kiln again. I'm going to run the kiln 4 times this week. I ordered pizza today because that's all we're going to be eating because I can't use my oven and the kiln, so.
Well, that's right. Well, sometimes you got to sacrifice.
Yeah, it's good. I built my cemetariums today.
Oh, how fun.
So they're like
terrarium.
Thank you. Terrariums, but they're a cemetery theme. And mine don't have any live plants in them. I thought people that buy them could add a live plant if they want to. But anyway, sure. I'll photograph them for you guys tomorrow. I took some pictures from the kitchen table and it looked terrible. So I've got to figure out how to photograph these because it's tricky. They're cool, though. They're super cool.
I can't wait to see them. How fun.
Yeah, pretty good. But yeah, I'm sure you're busting ass, too.
I am just printing like crazy. I'm printing, I've made these corgis today. Aren't they cute?
Oh, cute.
I'm really working hard on having little pet houses with all different kinds of pets to go in them.
Mm-hmm. Fun.
And a whole bunch of that stuff made. So, yeah, I've been having a good time with that. You can see that Sandy, the true crime cat, is behind me. We'll see if she has a message for us, as she seems to frequently do.
Court is in session, Sandy.
Yes, it is. And yes, big love to everyone affected by Hurricane Milton. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I'm just terrified for all of you.
Are you seeing Lieutenant Dan?
Oh, yeah.
That is so scary. So the real Lieutenant Dan, Forrest Gump, but the real Lieutenant Dan, lives in a houseboat in Tampa, and he refused to leave the area.
Well, they finally got him out. The cops took him.
Oh, did they?
They made him leave.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay,
somebody paid for a hotel room for him, and they came and got him and said, "We're taking you with us," and took him off his boat because he refused to leave.
Yeah. Okay, good. Because I've been seeing, reporters go check in on him all day, and him telling him they weren't leaving, and I'm like, my God, he will die in there.
I saw a video of the police saying we're going to make you go.
Mm-hmm.
So
good.
It's just scary. It's all scary.
It is.
And yeah, they did rescue him, Christina, and I'm very glad they did.
Excellent. Good.
I don't even know what to think about what all is going to happen here. So we're just thinking about y'all and hope you're all safe and okay.
Indeed. Yeah.
And we have so much true crime to get through today. It is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
It is absolutely crazy. I think we should start with Delphi, Katie, because I know there's quite a bit. Whew. And so let's get to that first.
All right. So Delphi starts next week. And as you know, there are no cameras or recordings in the courtroom. And there's limited seating in the courtroom. I mean, Judge Gohl has done everything she could to limit the public from this case, which, I could talk for 30 minutes on how problematic and ridiculous that is. But it's neither here nor there at this point. But we have several things to update. First and foremost, the state has done everything they could to make it impossible for Richard Allen to put on a defense. Completely impossible. Yeah. And Gohl has gone right along with it. Everything that they needed to bring to the table, they have argued over. Well, one of the latest arguments is over their expert witnesses that we helped pay for. Remember, they had to crowdfund because she wasn't helping pay, as she is, by law bound to do.
Supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. And there was a crowdfund, and I know a lot of you guys did. True Crime Squad did. We helped pay for these experts because the letter of the law hasn't been followed in this case. But at any rate, so one of the arguments that they've been having currently is about William Tobin. So the state filed a motion in limine trying to block the defense's witness, William Tobin. So I want to read you a little bit of what this brief says. This is the response from the defense. Mr. Tobin is a 27-year veteran of the Federal Bureau of Investigation with 24 years of experience at the FBI laboratory and an expert in forensic metallurgy. How do you say it?
It's metallurgy.
Metallurgy. Indiana rules of evidence provide that an individual may be qualified as an expert to testify to matters as long as it helps the trier of fact to understand the evidence or determine a fact at issue. So what they're talking about is the bullet. So there was a bullet found buried in the dirt between the girls' bodies that the state claims matches a gun that Richard Allen owned, saying that
this is
it was
unspent bullet.
An unspent bullet, yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
Mr. Tobin's expertise and testimony will assist the trier of fact in judging the credibility of the processes and protocol used in the discipline of firearms identification for the following reasons. Mr. Tobin has a bachelor's degree in metallurgy, a hard science that is intimately connected with the process of tool mark identification. Mr. Tobin has an academic background in statistics, which is also pertinent to the process through which firearms examiners draw their conclusions. Mr. Tobin was previously employed by the FBI for 27 years, having worked in the FBI laboratory as an expert in forensic metallurgy for 24 years. Forensic metallurgy is an expertise that is in part and parcel to the skill of tool mark identification. Mr. Tobin has testified as an expert witness on more than 200 occasions in courtrooms throughout the United States. I mean, is this guy feeling qualified to you?
Yeah, totally. Very much so.
This is where they got real salty. The state's examiner, Melissa Olberg, is nothing more than a lab technician. While she has received training in the discipline of firearms examination, anyone with a high school degree could do the same. Oof. Mm-hmm. Then they go on to talk about a gentleman named Dr. Eric Warren, who's an expert in firearms identification that the state references in their motion in limine. And they talk about that the state took Dr. Warren's deposition on October 3rd. And during his deposition, he acknowledged that an academic background in metallurgy, a hard science, would be helpful in understanding the process of firearms identification. So they're trying to block somebody who has the exact specifications that the witness that they interviewed has.
Yeah.
Dr. Warren testified that a background in statistics would be helpful in understanding the process of firearms identification, specifically noting that he anticipates changes and advances in the field which will be driven by new statistical approaches to summarizing the findings. Dr. Warren testified that the critical community within which Mr. Tobin associates has been helpful in moving the firearms identification forward by pushing for newer and better processes. Finally, Dr. Warren testified that there does exist a healthy debate in the industry as to whether or not the findings of firearms examiners should be inadmissible in courtrooms across the country, and there is a movement toward examiners being less definitive about their conclusions in courtroom settings. Basically, the state is arguing that he's not qualified to speak on this subject. And of course, the defense is proving that he most definitely is, but
I mean, they are hanging so much of their case on this bullet that has nothing to do with this crime whatsoever because neither of the girls were shot, and that bullet was never fired out of a gun. So what the hell does it have to do with anything?
Right. And I think that's what this doctor is coming in to say is that,
right?
or that
sure
this witness is that this is, that you can't definitively say that that came from that gun. Jess, no. I'm with you. Jess said, I may make some people mad with this, But this kind of analysis is junk since weapons manufacturing has become mass produced. It is. It is.
Right.
To try to claim that that came definitively from Richard Allen's gun is completely bananas. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
insane.
ridiculous. And what does it have to do with anything? This was not a gun crime. I
Right.
mean, if they dug deep enough, they could probably find all kinds of things buried between where those two girls were found.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
And then to try to deny this guy who is like top of the list
Right. Yeah.
of who could be somebody that would know. Wow.
Yeah. But Goal, I mean, she's not providing the defense with literally anything. They're barely allowed in the courtroom at this point.
It's insane.
It is insane. Also, reporters in
Ridiculous.
the courtroom are only allowed to bring paper and pen. No electronics of any kind. What are you
What is
afraid
Cole
of,
afraid
Judge Cole?
of?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
This is
something
a
else that
judge who does not
happened.
want herself
Yeah,
on a recording.
agree. Something else that happened is that the murder sheet had reached out to Richard Allen's wife for a statement. They had some questions for her. And her attorney put out a statement in response. So this is what he said. The following is in response to questions directed to Cathy Allen. My name is Dave Cloutier. I've been a licensed attorney in Indiana for 28 years, practicing in South Bend and handling personal injury, yada, yada, yada. Over the last several months, I've gotten to know Cathy very well. She is under incredible stress, but has handled it with grace, dignity, and goodwill. It has been a privilege to get to know someone of Cathy's strength. Cathy and I both have complete sympathy for the family members of Libby German and Abby Williams and for all of the people in the Delphi area. It is difficult to imagine how hard it must be for the families to deal with the loss and the unspeakable, horrible nature of what happened to Libby and Abby. For various reasons, Cathy has scrupulously avoided public comment of any kind, even in the face of repeated false claims and misinformation, both generally and specifically related to her. Cathy has no desire to do or say anything to prejudice any party's rights related to the upcoming trial. She has also been very careful to avoid doing or saying anything to add pain or anxiety to the families of Abby or Libby. However, recently Cathy was contacted by a media source, the Murder Sheet, from whom she learned a claim by an unknown person or persons about Cathy's marriage. We appreciate the professionalism and journalistic integrity that the Murder Sheet, has shown in seeking comment before reporting. I am responding on Cathy's behalf. We do so in part because the allegation brought to Cathy's attention does not relate to the facts of the case or to the upcoming trial, but it is specifically about her. In addition, Cathy's response is necessary because the truth matters, and misinformation causes harm to her and her family. As very wisely said by Kelsey German in July 2019, rumors suck and they hurt people. Therefore, I can confirm the following answer from Cathy to the questions you asked. The questions were whether Cathy considers her marriage to Rick to be over and now believes his alleged confessions. Relatedly, it was asked of Cathy whether she has some kind of recent change of heart and is, on that basis, going around saying these things. Cathy's answer to these questions is most definitively and emphatically no. Cathy's marriage has certainly been profoundly affected by Rick's incarceration, and both of them are suffering immense stress. But Cathy loves her husband, believes in the sanctity of marriage vows, and believes that the same presumption of innocence of our legal system of Rick should be given in equal measure to her, to the husband she loves. As to her husband's alleged confessions, it is not true that Cathy now believes them, but at this time Cathy will limit her response to just that. Finally, she has not been going around telling people these things. Cathy certainly has strong opinions and much to say about these matters more broadly. Perhaps in the very near future or further down the road, she may be willing and able to say more. For the time being, she's only responding to the direct questions you ask that do not relate to the facts of the case, but do relate to Cathy herself and her reputation. With malice towards no one, Cathy prays for justice and healing for all innocent people affected by the murders of Libby and Abby. She is also extremely grateful to Rick's defense team of lawyers, their staffs, and investigators. They have been courteous and kind to her and very conscientious about representing her husband. Signed, David L. Cloutier.
Wow.
So, of course, bitches have been out spreading rumors about Cathy Allen that aren't true. So,
that's just ridiculous.
Yes, it is. So, I'm glad they released that. The other thing that I think you guys will find interesting is, I don't know if you guys remember who Todd Click is, but Todd Click is a former police officer that was involved in investigating this case early in the trial, or early in the investigations after the murders. And then he left the police force and took a job with DCS. He is also a witness for the defense. So once upon a time, he was thought to be one of the strongest chess pieces. He was a witness for the defense. I don't know if they're still calling him because they aren't allowed to discuss Odinism or anyone else that may have been investigated in this matter. But
that's so stupid.
But that's what he was supposed to be. So he was part of a 3-man investigative unit. I think he is still coming to the stand. To be fair, I think he's still on their list. He just, they're going to be very limited in what they can talk about. But he was part of a 3-man investigative unit formed in 2018 to investigate potential ties between the girls' murders and men in the Carroll County area with ties to Odinism and ritual killings. That unit was disbanded in 2021 after the murder of Detective Greg Ferenczi, who was also a member of the Odinism investigative unit.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
I didn't know this, yeah.
Oh my God.
So he testified earlier this year that he had come to Carroll County Prosecutor Nick McClelland after Rick Allen was arrested and expressed concern about the substance of Allen's arrest. He said that he thought that Prosecutor McClelland didn't have a strong case against Allen and that there were other men who he thought made much stronger suspects in these murders. So those things happened. Well, guess what happened a few days ago? Todd Click was arrested.
For what?
Supposedly, so he works as a Department of Child Services investigator. Actually, a former Department of Child Services investigator. He's being charged with official misconduct, forgery, and falsifying child abuse or neglect information. So he's accused of filing DCS reports detailing visits and phone calls to troubled families, and those families say he never actually called or visited. He was released Monday morning on his own recognizance, but so we don't know anything about that, if that's true or if it's not true. But the timing of it, the fact that he gets arrested the week before he's supposed to take the stand and testify on Richard Allen's behalf, has to feel sus, considering everything else that has happened surrounding this case.
That is super concerning.
I think so. I hate it. Yeah. Now, if he did that shit, then Todd Click,
yeah,
burn in hell. But what's going to happen? If those charges are just unceremoniously dropped right after this trial, yeah.
This trial is such a sham, and I just have no doubt that this will not be the only trial that Richard Allen has.
Yeah. This is going to be appealed into infinity. Yeah.
I'm afraid so. Wow.
Yep. So, that's what's happening. So jury selection starts next week. We are going to be at the mercy of those that are in the courtroom and the notes that they take, because that is the best we'll be able to see.
Judge Gull, she does not want anybody recording anything she says or her face. Gee, I wonder why. Crazy.
It's insane. I've never seen anything like this.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a slam dunk case about against Richard Allen, why are y'all so afraid for anybody to see your case?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Jess said if it was a different case, I would say it's probably nothing. But since it's involving Richard Allen, I guarantee those are trumped up charges. Yeah, my
That's
thoughts
what I
as
think
well.
too. Absolutely.
Oh, good Lord. I don't
Wow.
know what's going on out there, but
Uh-oh. Okay, well, in a move that I think probably surprises no one, Brian Kohberger's trial has been delayed. I knew this was going to happen when they changed judges, and it's just frustrating because this has been going on for so long already. Um, so it has been moved now to July 30th of 2025. Jury selection will begin on July 30th. And jury trial will begin on August 11th. So they pushed it back 2 months. It's expected to last until November 7th of next year. Listen to that. Start at the end of July and finish in November. This is going to be insane.
I feel so sorry for the jurors.
Oh
So
my
sorry.
God. I thought Daybell was long. This is going to be insanity. But with a new judge, it's just what they have to do, you know. There's not really much choice. Hitler's got to have some time to catch up, and so that they are ready for not just trial, but they're ready with their jury instructions, and there's all kinds of stuff that the judge has to do. That definitely is going to take more time. So there are some hearings coming up for him. The defense had a deadline for filing motions to suppress evidence. That's November 14th. And they have a January 9th, 2025 deadline for turning over all discovery materials to the prosecutor. They've pushed out jury instructions and questionnaire by about a month. I figured that was one thing because that comes mostly from the judge. So that's going to take him a little bit longer. So anyway, Coburger, not for a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, Shanna Gardner Fernandez has been pushed out for another year.
Are you kidding me?
October 2025. Yep.
Why? They were just about to go to trial. What the hell?
Yep.
That's insane.
Yep.
What is going on with these? It's just getting longer and longer and longer to get anybody through the system. It's ridiculous. Right?
Well,
more tax dollars spent. It is. It's just more and more expense.
I read today that Stephen Stern's trial starts next week, but then I tried to dig deeper and get more information, and I can't find anything. So does anyone know if that's true?
I don't know.
Well, chatters.
So they're being tried separately?
Who? Shanna? No. Shanna.
Oh, wait.
Oh, Stephen Stearns. I'm talking about Madeline Soto.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was talking about Shanna Fernandez Gardner. I jumped.
Okay. Got you. That I do not know. But I mean, we're getting pretty close to the time in which they're not going to start any more trials,
Yeah.
By mid-November through the end of the year, you just don't see much happening because of the holidays.
Not things that are going to last very long.
I mean, hopefully we're going to get Boone out of the way first.
That'd be cool. That'd be super
hopefully see if Hurricane Milton can, not harm anyone. Thanks, Sarah Boone's attorney.
Okay, Danielle says this is different for Stearns. This is his trial for CSAM, not for the murder of Maddie Soto. Okay, thank you, Danielle. Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Good to know. Milton just made official landfall. All our love to you guys around Tampa.
So scared for Florida right now.
Damn. Let's see. Katie, what else have you got? Just lobbing it to you. I can't
How
remember.
about
There's
Scott
so much.
Peterson?
Oh, Scott Peterson. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Scott Peterson, his defense team and the LA Innocence Project
Yeah.
are trying to get a new trial. A California judge has allowed his defense team to access some decades old evidence. San Mateo County Super Court Judge Elizabeth Hill addressed the Innocence Project's request for access to hundreds of pieces of evidence in a 207-page ruling.
Oh my God.
So she's giving them access to some post-conviction material, including audio and video recordings of Modesto Police Department interviews with two men who were suspects in a burglary at a home across the street from the Petersons, as well as any handwritten notes taken by Modesto police officers who interviewed those men. He's also allowed access to some discovery materials under California law that he can access materials in the possession of the prosecution and law enforcement authorities to which the same defendant would have been entitled to at the time of the trial. So essentially, he can still access anything that he could have then. So,
I mean, that's kind of a given.
yeah.
And we know they're trying to put a bunch of emphasis on that robbery across the street. So,
Yeah. Yep. So that's basically it. And that's what we know so far. So he will be able to access some stuff. I don't think that's any big surprise. I mean, that's essentially his right. But
yeah,
they really want those robbers across the street to be guilty for this. Yeah.
I think they really have clarified that that didn't even happen until after she was already missing. But
Yeah.
we'll see. Okay, good to know. In slight good news in Tyre Nichols. The officers who beat him to death were acquitted. However, they have all been convicted on one count. And that is, witness tampering. They've been convicted in federal court of witness tampering. And one of them, Haley, was also convicted of violating Nichols' civil rights by causing bodily injury and of conspiring to witness tamper. Smith and Bean were acquitted on those charges, but they all got federal witness tampering charges. Why they don't have murder, I just don't fucking know. I'm glad they've got something. I don't think it's nearly enough for what they did. And I still do not think that there's a clear explanation for why they did what they did. These charges can carry up to 20 years in prison, the witness tampering. But these are police officers who probably have clean records, and so I doubt they're going to go to 20 years of prison. I don't know, man. That case is so disheartening.
Yeah, it is.
Has always been so disheartening to me. I'm glad they managed to get them on something.
Yeah.
Certainly not enough. Certainly
no.
Not justice for Tyre Nichols in any way.
God, do you guys remember the videos?
Oh my God.
All of the vest cam footage? That was brutal.
And in spite of all of that, they were acquitted.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
So
Unreal.
gross. Just unreal. Katie, what, you want to tell us about some raccoon crime?
I thought you guys would appreciate this.
Right?
Given
We're
all of the jokes
raccoon
about
around here.
Yeah, given all of the jokes about raccoons from the Daybell case, a Washington State woman called 911 because she was being hounded and chased after by 100 raccoons. Now, I'm going to just say right now,
that is a lot of raccoons.
This would be me if I lived there. I get it. She had been feeding a few raccoons that were coming up onto her step, right? And they were cute and funny. She's been feeding them for decades. Forever. So recently, a few raccoons has turned into anywhere from 50 to 100 on any given day. And they're not
Raccoons
just accepting...
have big families.
Yes. And they're not just accepting the food that she's tossing out to them. They're like, no, motherfucker, we're still hungry. Scratching at the doors, scratching at the windows, won't leave the porch. When she leaves
Oh.
and comes back, they swarm her car. And
Oh.
eventually their aggression frightened her enough that she had to call the police to come and help her because she couldn't come home.
My
Yeah.
God. What are they going to do about it?
Yeah. She couldn't go outside at all because of what was happening.
Oh my
Well,
God.
first of all, the police wanted to make it clear, and the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, that no laws were broken. It's not illegal to feed them. It's not advised, but it's not illegal. And, so the, the sheriff said, this is a nuisance problem kind of her own making that she has to deal with. Well, they didn't come in and hurt them or anything, so I was grateful for
Good.
that. Basically, she was advised to maybe just stay away for a little while and stop feeding them. And since she's done
See if
that,
they'll
they
move
have
on.
started to disperse.
Good. They'll go find somewhere else.
Yeah, this happened in Polsbo, in case you're wondering. But they will. They will find someone else to bother. But yeah.
Note to self. Raccoons have a really good support system around them and a good communication system. And by George, if they find somebody, have you seen that one of the guy that feeds them hot dogs every day? And he's
No.
absolutely swarmed. There's like 50 raccoons around him, and he's just tossing out hot dogs as fast as he can go. I'm like, dude, one of these days, one of them's going to eat you.
That would be me. I would go broke on hot dogs. Yeah. Every time I throw more cat food and peanuts in the cart at the grocery store, my husband's like, more? I'm like, well, they're still here because I feed the crows and the magpies in my front yard every day.
Before you know it, it's going to be an Alfred Hitchcock kind of movie at your house.
Right. The crows are gone. I haven't seen a crow.
Are they?
Yeah, I haven't seen a crow in about a week. They had been gone for a bit. Then they usually come back in about September for a couple of weeks, which they did do. They seem to me to be gone. The magpies are still here. Some of them don't leave. Yeah, so they do disperse a little bit in the winter, but they're still eating a full bowl of food that I put out every day. It's,
I bet.
yeah.
Well, have you learned anything? Yeah, Victoria, possums do that too, but possums are good. Possums are good.
If we had possums where I live, I would have a possum rescue. I love them so much.
I know.
But we don't. We don't have possums in Idaho.
We don't, which is sad because I like possums too. I think they're super cute.
Yes.
Oh,
They're
yes. Multiple fatalities in St. Lucie tornado. Yeah, there have been a whole bunch of tornadoes kicked off by Hurricane Milton. This is wild. Just wild. Okay, what else have we got here? A little bit in Brianna Taylor, if you can imagine it.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who got no consequences, Joshua Janes and Sergeant Kyle Meany, good name, are accused of depriving Taylor of her civil rights and falsifying information in the search warrant that was used to enter her apartment unannounced when they killed her. So this is federal charges. Federal prosecutors have filed new charges against these two former Louisville police officers. They're already facing some other charges in Brianna Taylor. I'm very glad that someone is. Let's see. They're accused, that they falsified the warrant that was used to enter her house, and it was the wrong one anyway.
Jesus Christ.
Federal prosecutors also said the two officers planned to execute the warrant in a manner that heightened the risk of gunfire. Oh, great. Yeah, excellent. By serving the warrant at night, and that they withheld information in the warrant about Taylor's boyfriend, who was in the apartment with Taylor at the time of the raid, being a licensed gun owner who had every fucking right to have a gun and defend himself and his home. The officers were not present at the time that the warrant was being executed. So they wrote the warrant and then they didn't even go. So I am glad to see this. It has taken way too long. But there needs to be a hell of a lot more justice for Brianna Taylor and for her boyfriend, honestly.
Both.
Yeah.
Innocent people sleeping in their bed.
Yeah. Can you imagine? It's
I'll never
terrifying.
get over this case. Yeah.
No, I won't either. Jennifer says, my dad puts Pringles outside my home, my house for the birds. I have a load of foxes around my house, and they wail like banshees at night. Oh, man, foxes do? Wild. Kristi says, possums are not good if you have a cat. True.
Yeah.
Katie, what else have you got for us?
Just a little bit in Menendez, the Menendez brothers.
Yes.
So there's been a lot of new interest in the Menendez brothers recently. There's been a couple of documentaries. Rosie O'Donnell has been speaking on their behalf and trying to help them. And there is a little bit of news there. So there was a press conference on October 3rd by Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon, referencing renewed interest in the case, as we know. He said that their office is getting a ton of calls, and there was a habeas corpus filing in 2023 by the brothers' attorneys, and what they're basically challenging the legality of their imprisonment. So the reason why is because there's a couple of pieces of evidence that have come forward that they feel like is important to their case. And so what they are, one of them is a letter that Eric wrote in 1988 to a cousin. This was about, I think it was 8 months before the deaths of their parents. To a cousin, he discussed the alleged ongoing molestation at the hands of their father, as we know. He said in the letter, I don't know if I'll make it through this. And then, of course, we know the 2023 affidavit that was filed by Menudo singer Ray Rosello. And Ray says that Jose Menendez raped him as well as a young teen when he was in charge of his record label. So that's a couple of things that are in the filing, and there is going to be some consideration to that. So we'll see what happens.
It's pretty interesting when you see how much was suppressed in that case. Everything about the abuse.
Yeah. So the prosecutor is supposed to file a non-binding formal opinion to the judge by November 26th, and then we go from there. So we'll see if anything happens with that or not. Looking at that case makes me really sad because it's disgusting that all of the sex abuse was left out of the trial, the second trial.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
There was so much mitigation on the part of those kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that should be allowed. I mean, mitigation is allowed. The fact that it was all suppressed is bullshit.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Jacqueline's daughter at Sitka had 3 brown bears behind her house this morning.
Whoa.
They
Wow.
roamed the neighborhood for an hour, then moved on to the park, gobbled up all of the neighbors' apples last night. Oh no.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's funny.
That is way funny. And speaking of, I have something to share with you because it was just Fat Bear Week. Do y'all know about Fat Bear Week?
Oh,
The
yeah.
national parks hold contests for Fat Bear Week because the bears are fattening themselves up for their hibernation. And then, there are contests to see, who's got the fattest bear. So I wanted to show, I love this. I think this is the funniest contest ever, especially because of their names and the way they write up the descriptions of the bears and stuff. It's all extremely clever.
Well,
So,
and the murder. Did you hear about the murder?
oh, yes.
Fat Bear Week started a little bit late because one of the contenders murdered one of the others
Yeah.
at Glacier.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, this is her right here. Her name is Grazer. And this is what the National Park Service said. Hail to Grazer, queen of Fat Bear Week. She's beauty and she's grace. She's stuffed so much salmon in her face. Grazer's formidable reign continues. Let us raise our paws and honor the royal highness of roundness, the majestic monarch of munching, the snacking sovereign of salmon. The back-to-back Fat Bear Week champion is one of the most successful and adaptable bears when it comes to bulking up for winter. Thank you to everyone who followed along to cast a vote and celebrated the importance of Katmai's rich ecosystem. Special shout out to the official sponsor of Fat Bear Week, the sockeye salmon.
That's hilarious. That first
Isn't that
line.
so good?
She's beauty, she's grace, she's stuffed so much salmon in her face.
I look for Fat Bear Week at the end of summer every year because it is so freaking clever and funny. I love it. So, yeah, I was so happy to see Grazer won for the second year in a row. Oh, that's not fair. She's pregnant, says Scott Weaver. Even more reason.
She's
for
still
her to
gobbling
bulk
the
up.
salmon. Oh, Lucky's mom said she lost a cub this season. Oh, Mama.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
to
she
hear that.
deserves something good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, gosh. Jacqueline's daughter set up a second electric fence around her goat pen. Oh, yikes.
Ooh. Yeah, that would be scary if you're a bear owner.
That's really
Oh, not
sad.
pregnant.
Oh.
Lucky says she is not pregnant. Oh,
Well, she lost a cub. Oh.
that's
Well,
sad.
she deserved to win anyway.
Yes,
and also,
she
she
did.
wasn't the murderer. So.
No, she wasn't. Yeah, that was. I did see a little of that. I can't watch stuff like that. It was so brutal.
Oh, no, it was bad.
Yeah.
I forgot I do have updates on the Zuberi trial as well.
Oh yes, let's hear about that.
Okay, this is really dumb, but I can't get the article and my notes to open on my computer because I'm paywalled there, but I'm not paywalled on my phone for some reason. So I'm going to have to read off of my phone for this one. But
Okay.
So
Well,
yesterday
that's all right.
was they finished jury selection and did opening statements. So the prosecution said that Zuberi used power, control, and sexual domination to kidnap and rape 2 women and hold them in his Klamath Falls home last year, as we know, in his plan called Operation Takeover. And we talked about that yesterday, where his plan was to apparently try to capture women and rape them and hold them hostage while they had a bunch of children for him to form an army.
I mean, can they just give him a hot shot straight to the balls or what?
His attorney, the defense attorney, is his team is very whiny. I know, surprise, but very whiny. They said the government has relied on unreliable accusations, from the people it happened to build an epic federal case expected to include more than 450 exhibits and more than 50 prosecution witnesses.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
And?
So the defense says, oh no, he had sex with them, but it was all consensual. That's what she said.
Was the locking them in his little torture room also consensual? Jesus Christ. Gross.
So obviously, so the U.S. attorney, this is Nathan Litchferick, he held up evidence bags that had handcuffs and leg irons, as we know that the first witness or the first victim had used on her, cell phone jammers, and a taser that he used to abduct and hold the women. Remember that he was impersonating a police officer.
Yeah.
They found those in his car, in his home, and a trailer that he owned. Now, I don't understand this. They said jurors would hear from a 22-year-old Washington woman, a commercial sex worker. What's a commercial sex worker?
Aren't all sex workers commercial?
I don't know. I thought that was a little bit weird, but I don't know. As we know, we went over this crime yesterday, so I'm not going to go all the way through it. But we did talk about how she beat her way out of that cell that he had built in his garage. And the door on that cell only opened one way. You couldn't open it from the inside. It had to be opened from the outside. She bit the tips. This woman was 120 pounds. She bit the tips off of her fingernails and punched the metal screen on the door of the cell until she popped the welds on the screen, and then skinnied through that and got to his car that was parked in the garage and that had a gun in it. So she took the gun, scaled a fence outside of their home, and ran into the road, bleeding and screaming, "He raped me," where a motorist stopped and called the police. So today, the prosecutors showed up with the door. She was on the stand today, and they had the actual door there so that the jury could see what the door looked like and what she did to free herself.
Wow. That poor thing, my God.
Mm-hmm. So here's what the defense says. This is really, I wish this was a streamed case. I think you can listen to it, but you can't watch it. But my God, I wish you could, because this is really something. So Potter, his attorney, told the jury to consider that the government hasn't charged him with rape, which they have not. He has other charges. She got in Zuberi's car, the Washington woman, voluntarily, and then fell asleep in that structure in the garage. She just fell asleep in there.
And just got accidentally locked in? What the hell?
She said it wasn't a cell. She said to the jury, "Does that make sense? The government called it a cell, but it's simply a cinder block structure for music or extra space. Just remember, there are reasons to have a structure other than the story the government has told."
Oh my God.
You get locked into and you can't get out of? I'm going to have a hard time understanding that one.
Yeah, me too.
She also said Operation Takeover was not so much of a grand plan because he didn't even follow the first line of it that read, "Leave phone at home." Well, okay, maybe he's stupid, Miss Potter. Maybe he's just stupid.
But I mean, he did in fact have the plan written down, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, and this is the part that just really got me. She claims that all of the guns and ammo found in his house and a trailer that was there were left behind by a former tenant. No shit.
Well, this is a raft of bullshit.
We don't
Guess they
dispute
have to
that
try something.
I guess. We don't dispute that he had sex with either women or that they were in his car. The fact that their DNA is found on his car or on handcuffs in his home doesn't prove there was kidnapping. Unbelievable. Yes, there was a ton of guns and ammo in this house, but they weren't his. This was just somebody who used to live here and they left all this stuff here. As you do, you know?
Yeah, sure. And if people leave stuff in a house that you now live in, you just leave it all hanging out wherever it was, and you just move your stuff in around it. What a bunch of bullshit. Wow.
Yeah. So, there's more, but I think that's all I've got time for today. But at any rate, this is where it's at. So, yeah.
I mean, I guess she's got to do something, but...
Yeah, she fell asleep in that extra room in the garage that she was locked into and was unable to get out of without actually, kicking and beating her way out of.
Yeah.
Sure, Jan, that sounds right.
Oh, that's just gross, man. Mm-hmm. Bethy says Noah reports a 20-foot wave in the Eye of Milton.
Oh, gosh. Oh.
Holy shit, that's a big wave.
Mm-hmm. Right, she did drink his Kool-Aid. Holy Moses.
Right? Kind of sounds like it. That's really scary. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got some new information in the murder of Judge Kevin Mullins. We know that former Sheriff Mickey Steins has been arrested in that case. These are some things that Stein's attorney is saying. That this was not planned. Also claiming that the incident occurred in the heat of passion. And he added, for us, the highest level of culpability should be manslaughter based on the partial defense of extreme emotional disturbance. That's the defense they're going with, is extreme emotional disturbance. So that's interesting. We'd heard rumors that there was a major mental health situation going on with him. I think one of the problems that I have with that is how many times he shot him.
Yeah. And went clear to the door to leave and then turned around and
And
put
then
another
turned around and
cap
shot
in
him
him.
again.
Yeah.
That's more than in the heat of the moment.
Also, you're the sheriff, bro. You are
Yeah.
supposed to be measured. You are supposed to know when to use your firearm and when not to. That's just not that. All of that, all of those arguments are going to fall short when the state, discusses who this person is.
Yeah. I know when the jury hears that this man was the active sheriff at the time that this occurred, that's going to be tough to take. And also when they talk about how many times he shot Mullins. A heat of the moment thing is not the same as shooting him a bunch of times, going to the door, turning and shooting him again.
Yeah.
Yes, Tammy, I've heard a lot that there is too, but everything that I've seen so far are rumors. And some of it is starting to make sense and come together, but it isn't all yet. And so we're kind of waiting to share more until we see
What's substantiated. But yes, there's
what's substantiated.
a lot of rumors out there for sure.
There really are.
And something upset the hell out of him
Yeah,
on those phones.
right.
We know that much, but
We do.
I wonder how far away they will have to move this trial in their state to be able to get a jury.
Quite a ways, I would imagine.
I would think so too.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
Yeah.
A couple of things in Shan Comes. So, lawyers for the accusers of Shan Comes have set up a hotline. And that hotline received 12,000 calls in the first 24 hours.
Holy shit.
12,000 calls.
Yeah.
And I mean, we know they're not all going to pan out to be something, but that is an unbelievable number. I mean, the thought that how they are ever even going to be able to try him for everything,
Yeah.
It's going to have to get wrapped up into like sex trafficking and a bunch of stuff like that, because individuals, that's going to be tougher to do, I think. But that's insane. 12,000. Also, he's got a new judge.
Yes.
This happened just a few days ago. So the judge who denied his bail is now no longer assigned to his case. So his judge was Andrew L. Carter Jr. Now he has Aaron Subramanian. Carter said he was going to send this case to another judge during that bail hearing in September if he couldn't accommodate a trial date. So because he has not waived speedy trial.
No.
So they're trying to force trial really quickly. And the judge is like, I don't have room for it on my docket. So they have assigned a new judge to him. It doesn't really, it doesn't mean anything nefarious is going on. It's just when you don't waive speedy trial, and if that judge has already got a big trial coming up in the same time frame, they're not going to be able to do it.
Just can't do it. Yeah.
So there's a new judge. I'm sure they're going to try to approach him with bail. I mean, I doubt I doubt that he's going to give him bail. There's absolutely no reason in the world to think that Shan Comes isn't a flight risk. He 100% is. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah, without a doubt he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and, I mean, he just continues to up the ante of his legal team. Just keeps adding more legal stars to the mix, trying to
He does.
get that bail. And I mean, I think that's what the state's going to be up against is that he just has unlimited funds for um, counsel and to push this
Oh, he
really
does.
quickly. And
Yeah.
with the number of witnesses that they're trying to pull together and evidence, the state's going to have to invest heavily in
Oh,
their
they
own
will.
team.
But this is federal.
Oh, it is federal. That's right.
It is
Yeah.
federal. So they've got, they've got the entire federal government behind them. Fortunately,
Yeah.
I'm glad this is federal because I agree. I don't think that any one state is going to be able
Take this on.
to take this on because it's going to take a massive prosecution team. And then there are all the civil suits coming. Right, with that many people, how's it going to unfold? Well, a lot of what's happening is that there are civil suits being filed against him. I think the criminal stuff we're going to see happen through the feds with sex trafficking and, is this going to this is a RICO case, racketeering, and so it'll be high level, and then individual victims will be more like a class action lawsuit. I'm thinking, but. Well, I guess we'll see. But yeah, it's a massive case.
Yeah.
Massive case. Well, I think we did it. Katie, did you have anything left?
That's what I had.
That is what I had too. It is a lot.
Man, is it trial season or what? Holy cow.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, lots of stuff happening and lots of things that are going to have to wrap up here in the next 4 weeks or so, really. Can class action go against an individual? I don't know. It may not be called class action. That's true. But somehow it's going to be likely that there will be civil cases that are a large number of people suing him at the same time.
I watched an interview the other day with one of his former bodyguards who was basically insinuating that those gazillion bottles of baby oil, that he liked to stock up on at Costco.
That Costco's come out and said we don't even sell baby oil. Did you hear that?
Insinuating that basically the reason those were all seized and taken is because it wasn't just baby oil in those bottles.
Oh. Oh. Oh, God. I don't even want to know. He did set up a corporation, yes. I think he has more than one. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be years. To figure out how this is all going to come down and what's going to happen with it. I'm just glad they've got a hold of him, and I hope they don't let him go.
Yeah.
You missed the TikTok?
The viewing party.
Just on TikTok, the viewing party there, calling it Watch Wednesday with Kristi. All you do is you just go to our account on TikTok, Tammy, and it'll show up in the corner that we're live. You can just click on the live. And it was great. We did an episode today of a 3-part documentary on Hulu called Demons and Saviors. It is the Christina Boyer story. It is wild. And it was mostly like crazy paranormal stuff that went on with her when she was a kid. Didn't even get to her murder, the murder that she's convicted of. But that was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I'll be doing that every Wednesday. And then next week, we have the watch party, the YouTube watch party.
Yeah.
And we are going to be doing that because guess what? The good Menendez documentary is also on Netflix. We thought it was just the monsters one. We don't want to do that one, but the good one is on there as well. So we're going to be doing it. I can't remember what it's called.
Awesome.
But I went and looked that up today. So
Good.
we're going to be doing that.
Carsonda. What? Oh, season 3 of Mindhunter is out this month. Oh, good.
It is?
Well, that's
I
good
didn't even
news.
know. That's so exciting. I'm excited to watch that.
Oh, a couple of things we can clean up a little bit from last night's episode. Oh God, I'm losing all thought. Hold on, I have to get names. How dumb. Sabella.
Yes.
One of her family members commented on our story and said
Yes.
that because we were wondering, like, is this drugs? Is it mental health? We had mused, like, is she really low IQ? Is he? No, she's not. Her family is saying no. Drugs, mental health, yes, but she was always a smart kid. Unfortunately, Samantha knew tragedy and grief in her life when her mother died really suddenly when she was a teenager, and it just absolutely destroyed her life. And since then, her family hasn't even had track of her for quite some time, it sounds like. But
Yeah.
it's always important to remember. I love it when we hear stuff like that, just on either side of the coin, because, I think it's easy in true crime for us to get a little jaded and forget that these are all human beings, whether they're the perp or the victim, and that they all have families that are hurting, and her
Well, we
family's
appreciate
shocked and
hearing
hurting. Yes.
they are. They
Yeah.
are. Can you imagine
We we
learning
will
this
never be
about
the
a
ones that get
relative of
defensive
yours?
and pissed off at being corrected on something,
No.
or more light shown on something. Please do. So I wanted to share that, but I also wanted to tell you a little bit more. So we talked about Jennifer Gledhill. This is the woman that
Yes.
is charged with murder of her husband in Utah.
Yes.
And yesterday I had said that I had read two different articles, and one said that he had filed for a protective order, and one that said that she had. Um, that was cleared up today, that it was her
It was
that
her that
had,
had filed for the protective order.
but wasn't
Okay.
given it because there was no history of domestic violence. So we know that.
Which is real weird. We
We
also heard
also,
from a listener
oh, go ahead.
about civil protection orders in Utah, and that normally, no, you don't have to prove a history of domestic violence to get one. And
Interesting.
so that is odd, because I
Yeah.
really wondered about that, because I've helped apply for tons of them in Idaho, and you don't have to have that. If a threat has been made, or you fear for your safety, or a threat has been made, and you don't have to prove it, you just have to report that in your application. So
Yeah. Yeah. We also know that they were seeking divorce. She was seeking divorce in July, and she and the kids had been living with her parents for a time.
wow.
And then sometime around the end of August, first part of September, they moved back in with him. And then by the end of the month, she had shot him dead in their bed. So
Trying to reconcile, that didn't work.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Scary.
Yeah.
Very
Definitely more to
scary.
come on that case.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's everything we have got for you tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with one more episode for the week, so don't miss that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, leave us a review wherever you can. We appreciate it. It helps us to grow. Follow us on our socials. We're very active on TikTok, particularly. And you can always go to truecrimesquad.com to access a way to tip us, to join our Patreon or our Buy Me a Coffee subscription. You can also get to my store, Fidget Whimsy, and Katie's store, Joyful Goddess Designs there. Lots of ways to support us. We appreciate you all so very much. And with that, you know it. We are the True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here.
Take care.